Welcome back and happy Valentine's Day, Janet.
Happy Valentine's Day, Kavita.
And thank you for coming back. We're having a special episode today just about Valentine's Day. We thought we'd put in our thoughts of love, and we want to focus on the importance of loving ourselves, to loving yourself. So that's what we're going to talk about for whatever length of time today. Welcome. We, invite you to bring along your favorite beverage,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. It could be some wine, it could be some juice, some tea, and join us for a little talk.
Yes. And we thank you for liking and subscribing. If you so do, if you like us. And we'd love for you to subscribe so that when we post, you'll automatically get the post. So, Valentine's Day is just such a big part of our culture. And we just want to emphasize how we need to love ourselves. That's the most important love on this planet, is loving ourselves. Agree?
Yes, very much so. And if you agree and want to write anything, or if you disagree, that's okay too. Write below because we read your comments. We'd love to hear it. But I completely agree. I mean, Janet, we don't hear it enough, maybe we don't say it enough, but I agree that's the most important.
Yeah. We're raised, or I'll just speak for myself. I was raised to not be selfish.
Mm,
If you don't share your toys, you're being selfish. If you don't share your little snacks, you're being selfish. But there's a difference between being selfish and being selfless. And
mm,
I think both of them are confused, because if we don't love ourselves first, how can we love someone else?
that's right.
And so I don't know how old I was. Probably after the first marriage, I understood what loving self meant.
Mm,
hmm And it's a difficult place to be in the world where we're supposed to pair with another individual
right.
and give all of our love to that individual. Well, it doesn't always work. And so, what do you have after that? And I do believe we have to first love ourselves. And loving ourselves means self-examination,
Yeah.
another Confucian principle.
Is that right?
Um, taking care of ourselves, you know? And so it's not selfish to love
It's
ourselves.
not. It isn't at all. I mean, I think I was also raised, I don't remember having any conscious messages about loving yourself or selfishness, but I was raised thinking, at least I believed, that love was something you gave to somebody else.
hmm
And it could be you gave it to your family, you gave it to a relationship, you gave it to your children, but it was something that you gave to somebody else. It was not something that you gave yourself.
hmm
Um, and it took me some time to learn how important it was to accept myself, to that my needs were important. They're not the most important, they're just important.
That's
And
right.
that just accepting myself for who I am,
hmm
not because somebody else loved me, but because I'm fine. That took
That's
me a
right.
long time. And yeah, what you said about like pairing off, like that was a message I received my entire life, that your life's not quite complete until you find that other person.
hmm
And I think it left me confused because I've been in relationships, but there's also been a big parts of my life when I'm not in a relationship. And I think it left me confused that somehow that wasn't okay, even when I was happy. And
I was going to
sometimes,
say, and how did you thrive during that time?
right, like
Sometimes you were happy.
yeah, I was happy, I was fine, but
Yes.
I was confused that somehow that wasn't the right thing because of
hmm
these messages we receive. And
Yes.
it took me a long time to figure out that it's more about how I feel about myself and accept who I am, And if I'm having the time of my life, it's
Mhm.
not about the pair, the other part of the pair. It's just about me, and that's enough. That's
Devil may care. That's right.
that's right. That is, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we're taught in Christianity that um, we love God because God first loved us.
Mm,
And so if someone first loves me, then I'll try to love them back.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's kind of paramount when it's God that's loving you. But it's when it's just an earthling
And earth,
that claims love, then you have to prove yourself.
you have to
And
prove.
it doesn't always come with what we learned from God, our maker. And I had a very good benchmark on love
Yeah.
with my mom and dad.
Mm,
They loved each other. You
mm,
hear people say, oh, my mom and dad were apart, or they fought all the time, or they beat each other up. My mom and dad loved each other. And so that's what I've always looked at.
yeah.
And I never thought I'd have
Mm,
it. I never thought that would be for me because I didn't think there was someone on this earth who would understand me as I needed to be understood.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it's proven itself out.
To that.
Cheers. Cheers.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I love me. My aunt used to say, I love me. Who do you
Mm,
love?
oh, isn't that I love that.
It
See,
sounds selfish, but it's not
it's
really.
not because it's a friend said this to me when I was very young. You're the only person who's going to be with you the rest of your life.
That's right.
You're it. There's only
And
one.
self preservation is the first law of man.
Mm,
And man means human.
yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Self preservation.
self-preservation. Yeah, my parents probably had a rockier relationship than your parents. I think
Hmm.
they definitely cared for each other, loved us, loved the family, taught us the
Hmm.
importance of loving the family.
Hmm.
Um, but I think I always grew up feeling like I would never find that
Hmm.
because I don't know if I had seen the model of it that I wanted. So,
Hmm.
like, the model that I was seeing was more in the movies, which is
Hmm.
so
Ah,
romanticized and unrealistic, and, like, you grow up
yeah,
thinking, like, that's how life is, and it's not.
it's not.
And, so, yeah, so I think, ultimately, I remember it was in a completely it had nothing to do with relationships where my friend in college said, "You're the only one who'll be with you for the rest of your life." It was not about relationships. It wasn't about finding your pair. It wasn't anything like that. But it did stay with me. And I
Hmm.
think that was a moment that turned into this. Well, then if that's true, then, which it is, then I've got to take care of myself, and I've got to
Hmm.
stop looking to somebody else to take care of me, and I've got to love myself. And I think loving yourself is a lifelong journey because I
Yeah.
guess we're hard on ourselves too, right?
Yes. Hmm. But happiness, we look to others for happiness. We have to make our own
Make
happiness.
our own happiness.
And that's part of loving ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, when we can come home from a week's hard work without a partner and take a bubble bath,
Mm,
relax, enjoy our music, enjoy ourselves, endeavor into our interests
yes.
just for us. I enjoy being alone. And I don't mean I can reach out and be with friends and even cultivate relationships, but there's no place that I am more comfortable than being with myself.
Yes.
And I'm not with myself in sorrow and loneliness. I am enjoying myself.
Yes. Me too. And I think that's something that I think I consider myself an introvert, so maybe that's something I've always enjoyed. Even
Hmm.
when I thought, "Oh, you're supposed to have someone else," I really just enjoyed being by myself, like there was nothing wrong with that.
That's
Um,
right.
but I like that solitariness. I like just
Hmm.
having a day before you where you might read, might go for a walk, whatever it
Hmm.
is, you're doing it to feed yourself, to nurture yourself.
That's right. Be with your own thoughts.
Yes.
Understand what makes you the way you are. Reminisce.
Yeah.
Uh, Look back on the love you've received and how you could then give love.
Yes.
I enjoy the being alone as well as I am introverted, I would say. By
Yeah.
nature, I'm introverted,
Yeah.
but I know how to be extroverted. I
Right.
don't know if that's my
You could be very
acting
social.
training.
Yeah. Yeah.
What'd you say?
You could be very social. So you're one of those
Yes.
social introverts, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's my acting training or what, but I can light up a room and, enjoy myself, flatter and be flattered. But
Yes.
there's no place I'd rather be than with myself alone.
Wow.
That's where the learning takes
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That self-reflection piece. I wouldn't give it
There
up.
we are. Who is that again?
Self-reflection.
Confucius.
Is that
Self
true? I better start
examination.
reading some Confucius because I
Self
maybe.
examination.
Mhm.
That's the main tenet
Yeah.
of his philosophy.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I believe that. I mean, and so we were connecting this with the conversation we had the other day about spirituality, right? Because we talked about
Hmm.
that too. And I think I mentioned I've done some Buddhist meditation. That's had an influence on my life. So I went on a 10-day retreat, a
Hmm.
10-day silent retreat
Oh,
with Vipassana Meditation Center, and I remember
10 days you
10
didn't
days of,
speak?
you don't speak for 9 days, and you're allowed to speak on the 10th day. So I'm going to come back.
Mercy.
So, I mean, people were like, how could you do that? And of course, I've now known people who've done it for months, which is something I have never done. And maybe one day I'll get an opportunity to do that. But I did it for 10 days and it
Mm,
had a profound shift in my life. And
I
partly because of
bet.
kind of just getting trained in this meditation methodology and really kind of going deep within yourself.
Hmm.
But part of it was just being away, disconnected, but that's not really the right word because I felt disconnected on one way. You're not allowed to have phones. You're not even allowed to journal. You're not allowed to do anything. You're disconnected in that way physically. But I felt more connected than I had previously because I was connected to myself deeply. I would
Mm.
take walks. I was connecting to nature. I felt spiritually connected. So I can't really say it was a disconnection because of how connected I felt.
Oh, excuse me. Thank
Um,
you.
so the
But
10th
so
day,
where were you physically?
okay,
Where
I went
where
to,
did this take place?
yeah, so there's Vipassana centers all over the world. They started, I believe, in India. Buddha, and I never heard about it when I was in India. This is something I came to learn about here in the US. And I went to the one in Massachusetts, which is, I think, an hour or two west of Boston.
Mm.
So I drove up there, stayed 10 days, came back. And
Hmm.
it was out in the middle of nature, and I would take walks because you had to keep distance from each other, and you were allowed outside, and then you were on your own, and you just didn't talk
Mm.
to anybody. And the talking is interesting because it was the whole philosophy was no communication, so you wouldn't even just like make eye contact and point to things. No, none of that. Like
None of that.
you're alone. You've got a bubble around you. You're alone. You're not somehow finding
Mm.
a way to communicate through your eyes because you can't
Hmm.
speak. That's not the deal. The deal is there's
Wow.
no communication, period, unless you have to ask a teacher a question. That's it.
Hmm.
Um, so here's the thing, right? I, so I mean, the first couple of days were tough. I had to get used to it. Um, I would go to the teacher, I think just because I wanted to talk to somebody, not because I really had a question, right? That happened.
Do
Then
you like the Kool-Aid? Is everything okay?
right, you find questions you want to ask sometimes.
Yeah.
So anyway, a couple days, and then by the third day, I was like kind of getting into the zone, and I was really getting a lot out of the meditation. Like I said, I felt really connected in a deeper way. And by the ninth day, I didn't really need it to end. And then the 10th day came where you get to talk to people. And within 10 minutes, I was just like, would y'all please just shut up?
You
I was
had
sick
learned
of
to
it.
live without talking.
I was sick
No
of all these
input,
people
please.
talking. I was like, that was, now I have to go back to this. Now I'm a
Mm,
talker too, even though I'm an introvert, you can tell I'm a talker.
yes,
But
we have our moments.
but in those 9 days, I was happy to just not. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I've only had that experience when sailing.
Mm.
I didn't sail as a youngster. I encouraged my son to sail when he was a youngster so that he could benefit from what I experienced as an adult.
Oh, wow.
There's nothing like sailing
What
and
when did you
not
go sailing? I don't think I've heard you talk about this.
really.
Yeah, I don't remember it. Yeah.
Mm. Several times. I went to a sailing camp in Maryland, and Maryland has the best seafood in the world on the Chesapeake
Mhm.
Bay.
Mhm.
Some of the best seafood. I went to a sailing camp there. I sailed in Martha's Vineyard with
Okay.
an
Well,
older
that
gentleman
makes sense.
on a
Okay.
small sailboat.
Mhm.
I sailed with my husband and his friend on the Chesapeake and the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, wow.
And there's nothing, I'm telling you, I enjoy even more than sex, than being on the ocean and not seeing the land.
Wow, really?
Cell phone off. There's alcohol on the boat, but you can't drink till after dinner
Okay.
because you're then docked. You can't drink while sailing because you
Yeah,
could lose
yeah.
your life.
Yeah.
Seeing whales first thing in the morning,
Mm.
accompanying you on your sail. The sounds are different. Life is different.
Yeah.
And, understanding that we came from the sea.
Mm.
We really are descendants of fish. I don't want
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
deep here. I don't want to get too deep.
yeah.
But
But it's the truth.
water, water is a big part of who we are.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow,
And
that sounds
I
amazing.
I come alive out on the open
On the
seas,
open sea. Well, there's a
knowing that I'm not in control.
yeah.
I have
Right,
to
that's
follow
part of
I
it,
have to
right?
follow certain rules,
Yep.
you know. And it's just beautiful. It's sky and water
That sounds amazing. All right, there's another experience we need to have together one day. Get
together.
out on the open seas.
Get out on the open seas. And there's so much life in our seas,
Mhm.
in our oceans. I mean, scientists are making discoveries every day of what's going on out there in our oceans.
Yeah.
And my dream, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I've shared it with you as a dear friend. Maybe you can coerce my son into making it happen. Wrap me in some linen and shove me off of somebody's sailboat so that my body can drift back to Africa. And if the fish don't eat me before I get there, then I will be home.
Mm.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
That's a beautiful image. Yeah.
yeah. So, does that have to do with Valentine's? Are we loving ourselves enough yet?
Oh, that was the question. I think all of this has to do with self-love. It's the places that we find in our life, with or without somebody, where we feel connected, where we feel that we are whole,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not
Mm-hmm.
needing something else to make us whole. We're just whole. And
Yes.
those things can come in a number of different ways,
Oh, indeed.
but yeah,
Indeed.
I do think being out on the open sea has everything to do with love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. God
Well,
bless us one and all.
yeah.
Here's to love. Happy
Here's to love.
Valentine's Day, everyone.
Happy
And,
Valentine.
and love is where we find it.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
and we will.
Love yourselves.
Love yourselves.
Yeah,
Remember to spend,
you're worthy of
mm,
love.
yes, of your own love, of your own love. So leave us
That's
a
right.
message if you can, and like or subscribe, and we'll be back with something new next time.
Yes. Thank you. Bye, Jan.
Mm.
Mhm.